Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Spiritual Journey podcast. My name is Nimesh, Radia, and I'm your host. I always love starting each episode by saying thank you. I feel so very blessed with this podcast, the people it's reaching, the impact it's having. My objective was really to guide people on their spiritual journey and to simplify spirituality. And with the messages we receive on a weekly basis, it's clearly doing that. So thank you for everyone that's supported. Thank you for everyone that listens. Yeah, I had no idea when I started this podcast how far it's going to go. So thank you. I am, just a quick intro, I'm an Akashic record reader, Akashic trainer, podcast host, podcast creator, as well as a spiritual coach and mentor. What I get to do is I get to hold people's space as they go through a transformation, as they go through an awakening, and guide people to truly be their authentic self. The work I do should really come with a health warning, because I do go deep. But I do feel that anyone that reaches out has a soul contract with me. So whether it's through booking an Akashic record reading or mentorship, which is, gives me an opportunity to work with you for 12 weeks and go deep on who you are, I love what I get to do. And this podcast wouldn't be where it is today without my beautiful co-host, introducing the amazing, the stunning, the healer extraordinaire, Stacey Brown. Stace, I got to do it. Love for you to introduce yourself, please.
Hi, friends. It's so good to be back. My name is Stacey. I'm an intuitive. I do readings for people from around the world. I'm also an Akashic record reader and a spiritual coach and mentor. And I love being in this space. Serving people, helping them on their journey to healing is such a powerful process and something that I'm so passionate about. I also recently published my first book, Journey to Soul Center, Discovering the Gift of Surrender, and it's available on Amazon and Audible. I'm looking forward to pouring into all of you today, and I'm hoping that we have some inspiration for you and that you will enjoy this episode as much as we do.
Thank you, Stace. And as I always say, we always pick, actually, at least more recently, we picked the topic based on how we feel energetically and kind of what we feel the community is going through. And we don't script anything. We don't channel. We just channel everything. So don't edit anything out. So yeah, this week's topic, I talk a lot about the shift the planet's going through from divine masculine to divine feminine. I really do feel like this period, this year, over the last few years has been intense. I feel like the amount that we're releasing and expanding is more in this lifetime than normally would take multiple lifetimes. Actually, more in the last few months than probably would have done in a lifetime previously. And, we've chosen to release a lot of ancestral karma too. And it's just, divine masculine was all around individual egos, power, politics, war. And moving to divine feminine, it is still about the individual, i.e., we're being pushed to try and, to shine our light, to be the gift, be the light. But it's more with love and less about ego. But the phase also feels really important around community. And certainly a lot of us, especially on the spiritual path, at times, maybe even now, have felt really lonely, kind of felt like nobody really understands our journey, understands who we are. They're probably not meant to, because we are unique souls, right? And we're here to do something different. But I really do feel we're moving into a time where community is really important, where finding like-minded souls to hold your space, maybe not to fully understand you, but to be able to hold your space and finding like-minded souls. I feel like we're all going through some kind of awakening, some kind of shift. And we've all kind of gone through this, and maybe our friend circles don't resonate anymore. But I feel like it's a time for us to create communities and hold people's space while we go through the individual work. Of course, working with mentors and individually kind of those that guide you on your journey, but finding safe communities feels also important. So today we're talking about the power of gathering, why we heal faster in a sacred community. Ultimately, I don't feel like we're meant to heal alone. The spiritual journey can feel lonely. And maybe the old paradigm was that, the spiritual journey needs to be done alone and, lots of suffering. And I'm not saying we're not meant to suffer or go through painful experiences. Actually, I don't feel we are meant to suffer. I feel like we're meant to go through painful experiences, but then when we stay in situations that are not serving us, that's where the suffering comes in. But I do feel like, which is why the work that we do, right? Both me and Stacey are mentors. You can work with us individually or together. But that's what we do. We let you know that you're not alone. And ultimately, we have guides too, right? But I feel like the isolation that we've been through in the last 4 or 5 years, and maybe not everyone's felt it. I've certainly felt the isolation. The image I've got of myself the other day was that, outwardly in the business and kind of as a healer, I've been showing up in all areas, with this podcast, with social media, whatever else. But personally, I kind of felt like I've been in a cocoon. And I feel like I'm coming out of the cocoon. That's the image I got of myself. And this is why the period that we're in right now, it is about being seen. It is about getting out of your safe space. But finding communities who hold your space, it feels like now's the time. And ultimately, it's not about trauma dumping, right? But it is about healing and sharing our truth. I really feel healing is amplified when it's witnessed and supported. When we share our story, and if my intention whenever I share my story is all about guiding people on their journey. So if your story helps one person, then maybe that's enough. But when you share your story, when you speak your truth, it's also very healing for you, especially when you do it in a safe space where there's very little ego, where it's not about trauma. It's like where if you share your story, someone else needs to share, oh, my trauma was worse. That's not really what it's about. It's a safe space to share. And I find it super, super healing. It's like our monthly Zoom calls. It's a really safe space to share. And we'll talk more through this episode. We have a beautiful June 1st event coming up, which is it's also a beautiful, safe community. But before we jump into that, Stacey, I'd love to hear from you. When I say to you, the power of gathering and, healing in a community, how does that make you feel? How is that working for you?
I find so much beauty in connecting with other people and the power of that, and what happens when you're working on healing collectively can be a really beautiful experience. A couple weeks ago, I just hosted an in-person retreat with a group of women that gathered together, and we came together just on a Sunday, and I poured into them for the entire day. And watching these women come into the space being very timid and shy and leaving with new friendships and new bonds was such a powerful experience for me. And I absolutely love connecting people with each other. And I feel it's something we've really been missing these last several years, is gathering in groups, connecting, and collectively healing. And this season for me, I feel really passionate about gathering groups together in an effort to heal. And I believe that when we do that, we inspire so much growth in each other. We kind of motivate each other and inspire each other in the areas that we might be lacking. We can bring so much insight into things when we have group discussions and group space to work on the healing process. And I have to tell you, I don't know what I would do without my community. I really feel that there's so much power in that. And I am excited to move forward, hopefully inspiring people on their journey to healing in group form. I love working one-to-one with individuals. I have a full day booked today of clients that I'm working with, and I love the one-to-one experience for sure. But I think there's something to be gained from gathering a group together and allowing you the space to connect one with each other, share your stories, share your insights, and really be inspired by one another. So to me, there is so much power in community, and having a spiritual community is something that I think a lot of people are lacking. If you're not somebody who, let's say, goes to church and is in a religious sect where you're gathering on a weekly basis, it might be challenging for you to find your community if you don't have a community yet. But it's something that Nimesh and I have worked really hard to build in our space, is build a spiritual community that can connect one with each other and can grow. And I love what we're doing and how we're building it. And I believe there's so much power in what you can learn in the knowledge from your fellow community.
Thanks, Stacey. So powerful. It's really interesting. I'll give you kind of maybe an idea where this topic came from for me, and that is, I felt like I'm showing up in all areas, right? I show up for this podcast. I release twice a week, and all the work I'm doing with my clients, and we have the Zoom call and the June 1st event. I was like, I'm showing up in all areas, and for my healing, I am. But I had an experience this past week. Like a few months ago, I got an email about a concert coming up. The artist's name is Chandra Siba. If you haven't heard, I would highly recommend. Such a beautiful voice, such a healing voice. But I bought a ticket to a concert because I'd heard of her and I heard her music, and I thought, you know what, near the time I'll see who else is available, and we'll kind of go together, whatever that looks like. And I kind of forgot about it, and then it kind of creeped up on me. I saw it on my calendar. I was like, oh, I forgot about that, but I blocked my calendar, so I was available. So I just thought, you know what, I'm going to go solo. Why not, right? And it was such a beautiful experience. And I had calls and stuff, so I got there before it started, but a little bit late. So I sat on the edge, but I sat in a space where I felt like a bubble with my guides around me. But the healing that came that evening from that community and the music and just the dancing and the chanting, was super, super healing. And and the image I got of myself in during that, what felt like a channel session, was I saw myself in a cocoon. I saw myself in a personal cocoon, and it kind of surprised me. But actually then, when I spoke to Stacey and I spoke to others, I'm sure a lot of people can relate that over the past few years, few months, we have been in this cocoon. But then I feel like we've needed to kind of go inwards to do the healing. But what I also saw was us coming out of that cocoon. And that's kind of what kind of led me to here, is like, well, hold on. I know I'm showing up on the healing side, but I'm also, this June the 1st event, I'm going to start Need to Plan It, but I want to start a meditation circle in my home, and kind of, we definitely want to do more in-person events this year and all that. And I just got me thinking about the community that we've created and the power of collective healing. I remember that soul spas I attended with Sidra, and if you haven't heard me talk about Sidra before, she's my mentor, my healer, my friend, and she left this realm in March 2020. She's now one of my spiritual guides. But it's such a powerful way to heal in a community, because it's such the group energy, and we feel it when we have the monthly Zoom call. There's such a beautiful, loving energy that comes from all of our guides from that group. And it feels like we're all quantum shifting. Obviously, the healing work we do on our own with nature, with our guides, is powerful. But when we co-create, it takes us to another level. It's that feeling the love and sharing an intention. And yes, this podcast, and I feel the power of it is very channeled. So again, thank you for listening to the podcast and supporting. But being a community live, either in Zoom or in person, especially if you pick the right one gives you a really strong platform to speak your truth if it's appropriate, but also allows you to heal together, to be in a safe space, to truly heal together. And what does that really feel like? Allowing yourself to feel the energy, and feel the power of who you are happens in a community. And Stacey talked about her event that she had recently, the live event, attending and joining communities. But what's your intention when you join this community is really important. Feeling it, making a soul level decision. So maybe the question to our listeners right now is, are you being open to joining communities? Are you open to that group healing? Have you felt isolated? And is it a time for you to truly come out of that energy and that vibration? Stacey, what would your advice be to the community in terms of, actually, before we go there, how have you felt over the past few years? Have you felt, when I talk about the isolation and I talk about being in a cocoon, and actually the energy shifting, is that something you resonate with? I'd love for you to share about what have you been going through personally?
Oh, 100%. I definitely feel that the last couple of years have been very isolating for so many of us. I think if we were to poll our audience, we would probably get a lot of people agreeing with us that this time has been very isolating, very self-motivated, very introspective, isolating. I keep going back to the word isolating. But I also believe we're coming out of that. We're coming out the other side of that, and people are building communities more now and appreciating them more because they've been without a community. And so I feel like there's a shift happening where that pendulum is swinging in the direction of us focusing more on community and doing less alone and working more together. And I don't just mean getting together and having time with one another, but I mean getting together and pouring into each other where you leave feeling inspired. And I think that's something that I know I've really been lacking in. I mean, when I did this live event, it was amazing to pour into these women and have them leave feeling inspired and motivated and excited. And to know that that group energy together triggered that is such a powerful experience. And it's inspired me to want to create more of that. I want to create more of that community. I want to create more of that connection. I want to create more of it intentionally, where there's something to be gained from the experience. I think it's beautiful to get together with friends and have a social community, but I think a spiritual community is so powerful because you can accelerate your growth based off of the knowledge that you're gaining from other people and the inspiration that you're gaining from their stories. And I think if you're in a space where you're feeling stagnant or frustrated, this can be a space that really pushes you forward into that next level that we're all trying to get to. And I believe there's a lot of inspiration that can come from the connection with other people.
Powerful stuff. And it's really interesting is that how our guides also like to have fun with us. I kind of always had with all the work that I do with the podcast and the stuff I do with my clients, and all 99% of my clients are done on Zoom, even if they live in the UK, but most of my clients in the US. And I always kind of had this impression that I'm going to do some events in the US, and most of my clients in the US, and it's like after not the last Zoom call, the one before, the one in April, we had the Zoom call on the full moon on the Thursday, actually a couple of days before the full moon, but it was on the Thursday. Then on Friday, I was driving home after I went to see my sister, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to treat myself. I really want a milkshake, and I've not been to this ice cream shop for maybe a year before that. I walked in, there was a group of people there, maybe 10. It's kind of all sitting having their ice cream and milkshakes or whatever, and I was just going to go in there and order my milkshake and leave. And one of the guys in the group got up and said, "Hey, how you doing?" I didn't recognize him. I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm good. How are you?" And he's like, "I was on your Zoom call yesterday," and I was just kind of took me back a little bit, because that to me is a different world, and this was my human existence. And it's like, "Oh, that's really cool." And he's like, "Oh, it was amazing, thank you." Then another girl got off from the group and she said, "Oh, I was on it too." And then another one. There's like 4 of them out of the 10 had all been on. And another one said, "Oh yeah, I know you. I've seen your stuff on social media." I was like, okay, this is all a bit crazy. And I was giving business cards out and whatever, and they all like, can we take a picture? And I was like, this is crazy. And then the girls behind the counter also said, "What's going on?" And I told them, and one of them was like, "Oh, I was born in Uganda," because that's where I was born. It's like, "Can I take a picture too?" And I was like, "Wait, hold on." And I loved the experience, and it kind of took me by surprise, but it really was a message from my guides that it's time for us to be seen. And that's the other thing about communities. It's find a community where you're seen, where your energy is felt. It may not always be, for sure, find communities and friend circles where you can speak your truth, but being seen and finding a safe container where it's safe for you to be seen. I mean, before we record every podcast, we will do a grounding. Before any event, we'll do a grounding, we'll do a meditation, we'll call in our guides. We'll make sure that the space is protected. So find those type of spaces where it's a safe container. As Stacey was saying, the energy is shifting and the vibration is shifting. You don't have to be a martyr. You don't have to do everything on your own. And it's like, I know that, for example, the Zoom calls, sure, me and Stacey are running it, we're driving it, but every person that's in that group is contributing. Everything's a co-creation. When we open the Akashic Records for the group, we call it all your guides. So it is a co-creation. So you are important. Each person brings something different. Whether you speak or whether you don't, your vibration is your light, makes a big difference. I feel like we're all being pushed to become our authentic selves, to release these avatars of what we think people think of us, and truly be. So find that safe space where your energy is felt, where you can show up as your authentic self, where you can connect to your higher self and your guides. And I love the synchronicity of that story, right? And it's just, I know for me, I need to be in more public spaces, and it's really interesting. And maybe you can relate, Stace. I'm sure you can too. It's that with the cocoon and with the recent energy, my energy and vibration around large groups is different. I guess for sure I put a bubble around myself, and I ask my guides to let loving and supporting energy and vibrations in. But the energy of a group still affects me, right? There's still, I'm a natural empath. I'm sure a lot of people listening to this are. So yes, you need to do the right things that protect your energy, but also you got to realize that group and that public space and that community needs your energy, needs your vibration. And everything's a co-creation. So when you go into a room, just feel your space, feel your energy. And, I'm very, very conscious and protective of this podcast, and we don't do a lot of selling on it. But I feel something different about this June 1st event. Yes, it's on Zoom. And for sure, Stacey did a recent in-person event in the US. I'm sure we'll do more in-person events. But joining on Zoom still gives us the ability to create a global community. And, when we have the monthly free Zoom, we have people all over the world, right? Obviously, all over the US, all over the UK, but also all over Europe, Australia, large parts of, Asia, Singapore, and different. And I just feel differently about this June 1st event. It's for 5 hours, gives us an opportunity to go deeper than we do in the 90-minute Zoom. It's a nominal fee. It's $25. We'll pour everything into you. We'll open the group Akashic Records. There'll be a number of activations. There'll be some deep inner child work. It's an opportunity for you to heal, be in a safe space to heal. It's over 5 hours, like we said. It's on June the 1st. It's 11 till 4 EST, 8 a.m. till 1 PST, and 4 p.m. till 9 p.m. UK. We try to pick a time where most geos can join. It's always difficult, and we know it's daytime during Sunday. But again, we thought, if you're working, you struggle to make time during work week, then again Sunday, and family time, and I get not everyone's going to be able to join, but we try to pick a time we felt was right. It's also June the 1st, beginning of summer. It's a great time to heal, a great time to release, great time to connect with your inner child and heal your inner child. Just so excited about it. So Stacey, I'd love for you to share anything that's in your heart about kind of creating communities. And I know you just experienced that event, but also how do you feel about the June 1st event?
I'm so excited about doing something that is aligned with who we are. And I love, we do our free Zoom healing session every month, and it's one of my favorite things. Like you were saying, we gather people from all around the globe and we pour into them, and the collective experience is really beautiful. I mean, people wait for our monthly Zoom and put it on their calendar and make sure they're going to be there every month. And I've had so much good feedback from that. I mean, we both have just received so many warm, beautiful messages from people saying how much they love the free Zoom. And we wanted to do something like that, but kind of bump it up a notch. And so we created this beautiful event for June 1st, where we're going to pour into you even more than we do in the free Zoom. And what we did was we made the price point really reasonable so that you don't have to question whether you can afford it or not. It's $25. And we created a beautiful agenda to talk about your inner child, to talk about manifesting, to open the Akashic records and deliver a message. We really want to bring you into a space of alignment. And we're going to do everything we can to help you make that happen through this event and pouring into you. I'm excited because I love seeing people shift from these events. I love seeing people have their aha moments, their light bulb moments through experiences like this. And I personally love creating the experience for people to have a more spiritual encounter. And I look at this event as sacred. I definitely feel that there's something magical that's about to happen. And I really believe that anybody who attends this event is going to walk away feeling something shifting within them, whether it's the inspiration to create more community, whether it's understanding more about yourself and your own personal journey and what next steps you need to take. For some people, it's going to be a reset, right? They already know the things they should do in order to be healthy and happy and balanced, but maybe they've fallen off in some way and they need a reset. This is going to be a beautiful reset for those of you who need it. I just feel like we have the perfect package to deliver to our audience, no matter where you are in your spiritual journey. It's going to be great for somebody who's just getting started, and it's going to be great for somebody who's been in it for a while, but it's going to be something that's going to allow us to build a stronger sense of community globally. And I think this is one of the things I think that we kind of take for granted in this day and age, is the fact that we have the ability with technology to connect with people who live in all different parts of the world. And one of the things that I have found about the area that I live in is people are very narrow and they're very like in their own little bubble of their world, whether it's their town they live in or the city they live in or the community that they grew up in. People are very like predictable with how they do things. And we're doing things in a different way. We're saying, you know what? Let's get together people from all parts of the world, all different backgrounds, all different upbringings, and let's create a community based off of that. And I believe there's so much power in that because you're exposing yourself to different ways of being. And I really believe that's how we grow.
So true, right? So true. And, you know, I'll include the link for the event in the show notes, etc. So you know, but if you have any questions, reach out, DM us. But do really consider, have you got a community around you? What does your inner circle look like? Are you allowing people in to hold your space? Are you holding on to souls maybe that the soul contract's complete? I really believe that we evolve and heal, connect to our gifts when we surround ourselves with aligned souls. And what I mean by aligned souls is not just those people that agree with everything you say, or you know, it's more about those souls where you feel aligned, but will also hold your space, allowing you to speak your truth, allow you to be your authentic selves. And I do feel like for a lot of us, our community is changing. So if you're listening to this, I'm going to challenge you to really ask, have you looked at your friends and have you looked at the people around you? Do you have people around you that allow you to be authentic, that hold your space? Or do you feel like you need to hold back? Yeah, spiritual journey is really interesting, right? A lot of the time we hold stuff in. We worry what people think about us, and this spiritual journey be all, woo-woo, right? Term that a lot of people tend to like to use. I feel like it's a time where we need to merge worlds and share our truth. But this is where finding the community. It's like I was talking about this podcast yesterday to my family, and just I underestimate how much it's been my training ground, allowing me to speak. I'm much more comfortable speaking, and I met Stacey on a social media app called Clubhouse, and again, that was an audio app only. It was a space where we can talk, and again, I feel like so. Whatever you've been through over the past few years, it has been preparing you. And yes, maybe it's felt lonely, and maybe there's a lot of stuff you had to do on your own. But allow yourself to be part of a community, whether you join our event on June the 1st, or I just feel whoever's there is meant to be there, and there's a soul contract for them to join. So I don't, I'm uncomfortable being in sales mode because I don't feel like I need to be. It's just I just trust whoever, but I do feel we need to talk about it. So that's why we talked about it on this podcast, because why keep it a secret? And by finding that community does hold you accountable. We will share things on that June 1st event. There will be takeaways. There'll be journaling. There'll be doing some deep work on you. 100%, we're happy to hold you accountable. But whether it's that community or another one, find that community that holds you accountable. That's a safe space for you to share, that expands you, maybe challenges you, allows you to build trust. And things are always evolving too, right? So if you've been part of a community that's held your space in the way that we talk about, but doesn't resonate anymore, it means that you've done a lot of work on yourself and you've evolved, and maybe the people in that community are doing differently. There's no right or wrong. I believe we're exactly where we're meant to be. But if the community you're in, you feel like you've outgrown, or if it doesn't resonate anymore, then find one that does. There's a quote, if you need to shift, if you need to move, then move. You're not a tree. Why do we stay in places just because it's safe? This is not a time for us to be safe. Feel what's happening on the planet. The planet is going through such a shift, and we don't need to do it on our own. Because here's the thing with the shift the planet's going through, it is going to feel chaotic over the next 18 months. It is going to be so much energy, so much noise. But again, if you find your community, if you find your people, then it's easier to stay the course. I didn't say it was easy, because we're all going through this human experience, which can be challenging. But what if it's not complicated? What if we need to go through something and then we need to experience it, but when we have a safe space to share and to be, it's not as hard? And this is multifaceted. So yeah, for sure, look for a wider community, but also consciously choose your inner circle. And I'm sure there's a lot of people, and I'm the same, a lot of my friend circle has got really small. And I know, and I accept, me and Stacey talk about it all the time, that our friend circles needed to get smaller because of what we were going through. But I feel like we've gone through that. And now be open to new souls coming into your vibration, new energies, new vibe, because we're all going through the shift. All of us are collectively. And the weird, interesting about this journey is it feels like we're the only one going through it, but actually we're not. Everybody's going through it. And, allow yourself to feel safe in these communities. And if something happens and you feel your trust was betrayed, that's still a lesson. That's still a learning. That's still a trigger that you were meant to go through to heal. And then so find a different community. This is a beautiful time. Your soul chose to be here. And what if the community you're looking for needs your energy, needs your vibration? Stace, what's your advice to people around communities and finding the right community? Anything that's in your heart, anything that you're experiencing that you want to share, please do.
I definitely feel like finding community takes experimentation and exposure to different people to figure out where you fit. So I think it takes getting out of your comfort zone and saying, okay, I am going to try this new experience and see if it aligns with me. And I feel like a lot of us hold back because we're creatures of habit and we like to do what's familiar, based off of like that comfort level, right? Like, this is what's comfortable for me, so this is what I'm going to keep doing. And I have found in the community that I live, like, that's what a lot of people do. Like, born and raised in the same town, never leave. Everything is predictable. Everything is the same all the time. And for some people that works. But as we grow and evolve as people, what we did before doesn't always work going forward. And so I would encourage you to step out of your comfort zone and try different experiences until you find the community where you feel supported and seen and heard. And sometimes that takes a little bit of time. It takes a little bit of time and exploration and experimentation to figure out where you fit and what works for you. But I believe the only way that we can do that is by exposing ourselves to new experiences, new circumstances, new people, and allowing ourselves to see what feels like it resonates with us. And so I would encourage you, my friends, to take that journey of self-discovery and exploration, step out of your comfort zone, try new experiences, and see what aligns with you as you move forward. I definitely feel that for a lot of us, we do what is safe, right? We stay in our safe zone. We stay in our bubble. And sometimes the most beautiful blessings come from us stepping outside of that bubble and experiencing something new.
I love it. I love it. And that bubble's interesting, right? The bubble's helped us for a long time. So, like I said, I feel like we needed to be in the bubble for a while, to be in that cocoon. But are you ready to come out? And challenge yourself. Where in your life are you trying to heal alone? That you're trying to be the martyr? Are you open to people helping you? Are you open to people holding your space? Are you, where in your world are you now open to asking for help and support? For sure, ask for help and support from your guides. But how much help and support are you open to receiving in the human realm? Are you being a martyr and wanting to be there for everybody else, but not allowing people to be there for you? I challenge you to do something different. And the reason I recognize it is I've been going through the same journey. I have been working hard on allowing people to be there for me. And this healing journey is really interesting because, the healer so often feels like I need to be there for everybody else. I need to heal people. But healers need healing too. So are you open to shifting your community? Are you open to being part of another community? Are you open to a community helping and supporting your space? We've talked about June 1st event. If that resonates with you at a soul and a heart level, then sign up. It's $25. And if you can't make the full 5 hours, then join as much as you can. We'll record other parts of it and we'll send it to you. And normally the monthly Zoom, we'll record it and we'll send it as a podcast. I haven't spoken to Stacey about this, but I'm feeling like the June 1st event should be a more of a private affair. And, it's only those that attend that will get rid of the recordings. It feels very sacred. So, we're not in sales mode. If it resonates at a soul level, then reach out. I'll include the link in the show notes. But if that community doesn't resonate, then please do find one that does. Find a safe space. If something that me and Stacey said resonates, then maybe you want to reach out and book an Akashic record reading and find out more about mentorship. Beautiful to work with us both together because we're aligned souls that way, and you get divine masculine, divine feminine. If it resonates to work with us, one of us individually, that's okay too. But we love what we get to do. We get to hold people's space and guide them through this shift. I spent so many years in the corporate world, and at the beginning it resonated. It felt like where I was meant to be, but I couldn't stay there because I knew I was meant to do something different. And maybe you're the same. Maybe you're meant to do something different. You're looking for people to hold your space. We haven't talked a lot about what we do, but the mentorship program is over 12 weeks. We guide you, we connect you to you, we hold your space while you go through a shift. It should come with a health warning because we really do hold your space, and while you go through, you heal your inner child, you go through shifts. We've recently added a phase 2. You have to go through phase 1, but phase 2 is we guide people to create their own mentorship program, to really understand why they're here. If any of that resonates, reach out, book a discovery call. You can book a discovery call with us together, individually, whoever voices recognize. I really believe that whoever we're meant to work with, it's a soul contract. So ask your heart, ask your soul, ask your guides what resonates, and then trust that. But you're not alone. I also encourage you to reach out to your guides and connect with them. I already do feel like we'll be receiving more than ever before. But things are shifting. So don't stay stuck in your old self where you feel like you need to do everything on your own. Allow love in. Don't build a wall around your heart. Allow love in. Create. The other thing we haven't talked about is maybe you're meant to create a community. Maybe you're meant to be part of a community, but also in parallel, create a community. And I don't feel communities anymore is about leadership, and I feel like it's a co-creation. So be open to magic in your world. We love what we get to do. We love guiding you guys. So if anything resonates, reach out. If you're working on something you want to share, then let us know. If there's a community story that you've been going through, if a community's held your space, then share your story. Let us know. We love hearing from you guys as to what, kind of what you're going through is in your healing journey. We love to hear from you. So Stacey, as we start to close this episode, I'm wondering if you have any journal prompts in your heart, anything you want to share as we close out. I feel like such a powerful episode again. So I really do. This feeling of community really resonates with me. But anything that's in your heart, any journal prompts, please do share.
I would encourage our listeners to sit down and ask yourself with your journal, what has been the role of community in my life thus far? And kind of see what unfolds when you think about the impact the community has had in your life. And then I want you to evaluate, do you currently have a community, a supportive environment that's working for you? And if you don't, I encourage you to ask, what do you need in order to feel supported by your community? What do you need in order to feel supported by your community? And allow yourself some space to write about this and see what comes up, because you may be surprised. You may not have even thought about community lately. You might have been so caught up in what you're going through in your life, what your family's experiencing, what's happening with your kids, what's going on with work. You might be so consumed in those things that you haven't really thought about community recently. And maybe this is the spark to light the fire that ignites you into a space of recognizing there's something more that I need in my life in order to be able to move forward and be a healthy person. And if our community resonates with you, I want to encourage you to join us, knowing that we will always have room for you. Okay. We make sure that everyone is welcome in the environment that we create, and allow everyone the experience to connect and to feel closer to understanding who they are and why they're here. And so, my friends, if you don't have a community, we have one for you. But in the end, what we're encouraging is for you to build some sort of community so that you have a support system and you don't feel like you're doing this alone.
I love it. I love it. And as we close, I just want to remind you that your energy, your vibration is needed in that community. Because I feel like a lot of the time we listen to the podcasts like this and it's like we feel like, oh, they're talking to somebody else. You know, it's like if you join a community, you know, yes, you probably need that community, but know that the community needs you too. Everything's a co-creation. Your light, your gift is your light. And any place you're in is a blessing. But realize that if you've been through this phase where you've felt really alone, be open to things shifting, be open to the energetic power of sacred group spaces where you're meant to be part of. Yeah, maybe you'll hear something in a community that you needed to hear. Maybe the community will hear something from you that they needed to hear. You know, mirroring, witnessing, being held in a community. I mean, I felt it on those monthly Zoom calls. It's so beautiful. You know, the importance of co-creation. You're not alone. Yes, you have your guides, but you're not on your own. You have soul contracts with people, with communities that are meant to feel your energy. There's been so much, I've seen so much healing at soul spas and group events. And I personally want to create much more of that. But if you're listening to this, you're meant to create some of it too. So trust your intuition, but you have to meet the universe halfway. So look for communities. You know, if, like Stacey says, if the June 1st event resonates, then book it. Don't wait. Don't think, oh, what am I going to do now? No, commit. Block 5 hours in your time and make you a priority. If you got kids, you got family, then you know what? Maybe it's time for you to make you a priority. Things are really shifting. And yes, I have been talking about the energy being intense all year, and I feel like I'm sometimes a broken record, but the energy is different. It's still intense. But I feel like the focus now is to shine our light. But as we shine our light, we give others permission to do the same. So it's time for you to shine your light, and it's time for you to be seen. It's time for you to find that community. We're sending so much love and light out to all of you. This is a beautiful time to be on this planet. Your soul chose you to be here. You're needed, you're wanted, and you're very much loved. Certainly by your guides, but what if it's time for you to allow a community or multiple communities love you? Sending so much love and light out, Stacey. I'm going to hand over to you to close us out.
Another powerful episode and something beautiful that we're leaving with you to think about and ponder as you move forward. The power of community, something really beautiful. Hoping this inspires you on your journey and allows you some space to think about your own community and maybe what you need to do to continue to build a community. And my friends, we're here to support you in any way we can. Thanks for spending time with us today.
Thank you, Sunny Love and Light. Bye for now.